The Buddha story begins. The mother with whom Lord Buddha was blessed was the most beautiful Kolian princess named Mahamaya. Queen Mahamaya was the daughter of King Anjana of the Kolyas. But it was Maya's virtues and talents that were her most wonderful essences, for she was enriched with the most precious gifts of intelligence and piety. The couple commanded over the Sakyas, a warrior tribe living next to the Kolya tribe, in the north of India, in what is now known as Nepal. The capital of the Sakya country was laid out across the foothills of the Himalayas, called Kapilavastu. One full moon night, Queen Mahamaya saw a vivid dream. She dreamt of 4 heavenly figures, picked her up to Lake Anotata in the Himalayas. After giving her a divine bath, they ornamented her with blissful flowers and anointed her with perfumes. Soon after, a white elephant, carrying a white lotus flower in its trunk, arrived and went around her 3 times, entering her womb through her right side. When she wakes up from her dream, the elephant had already disappeared. She, being tensed, ran to the king and requested him to come up with the meaning behind this dream. They knew that this is a positive note because elephants are considered the most auspicious animal in Nepal. King ordered and assembled a group of wise men to discover the meaning of the dream. After a long discussion among the wise men, they delivered great news to Raja Shuddhadana. The wise men said, "Your Majesty, you are very lucky. The Devas have accepted our queen as the mother of the purest one, and the child will become a very great essence to this universe." The couple was happy to know about this great occurrence. They were so happy that they bestowed the whole kingdom with offerings and good vibes. Kings from all over the realm were invited to participate in their celebration. After many years, Queen Mahamaya became pregnant. She and her husband were very happy about it. On the full moon day in the month of May, she gave birth to the divine soul in Lumbini Park, while she was on her way to see her parents. The beautiful flowers started blooming all around. Negativity started taking down his origins. Everyone was very happy to see the baby, and as per the wise men's advice, everyone believed that the baby will soon become the wisest of them all. 5 days after the prince's birth, the king asked 5 wise men to select a name for his son as per the rituals. They named him Siddhartha. This name means the one whose wishes will be fulfilled. Everyone was very happy to see everything positive around the kingdom. Everyone was very happy about the birth of the purest one. But 2 days after his name-giving ceremony, Devi Mahamaya died of illness. Everyone was sad, including King Shuddhadana. Wise men previously advised King to keep Siddhartha out of any pain and discomfort. They had predicted that if the prince saw someone old, someone sick, a dead person, and a monk, he would want to leave the palace and become a monk himself instead of being a prince. Listening to them, his feelings started horrifying him. The queen's sister, Prajapati Gautami, took care of the baby prince with as much emotion and tenderness as if he were her own son. Prince Siddhartha was a healthful and delightful boy. He liked to learn and found it easy to study, and was the most skillful in his class and the ablest at games. He was always thoughtful to others and was beloved among his friends. From childhood, Siddhartha was different from others. In the age of being playful, he started noticing the sufferings and hardship of life. When he was too small, he felt pity for the small creatures around him. One day, one of his friends was trying to hurt a snake. Siddhartha stopped the kid from hurting the snake and advised him to stop being cruel to creatures. Another instance when he saw his cousin's brother hurting a swan. His brother, Prince Devadatta, shot a swan with an arrow, but Siddhartha took the swan, provided all his attention and care. When the swan started getting better, he let it fly in the sky. One afternoon, his father took him to the annual plowing festival. The king began the ceremony by starting the first pair of exquisitely decorated bullocks. Siddhartha sat down under a roseapple tree and saw everyone. He marked that while people were blissfully enjoying themselves, but the bullocks had to work terribly hard and plow the field. They did not look happy at all. He also witnessed the life cycle of creatures, how a lizard ate an ant. Then it is eaten by a snake, and the snake is thereafter eaten by an eagle. He assumed that all the pleasure we behold in our life is just for some period. It gradually finishes up with suffering. When Siddhartha saw what's happening all around, he sat under a tree and started thinking deeply. When King and the maid saw him sitting under a tree, cross-legged in deep meditation, they started worrying about his future. King decided to make a place full of joy and comfort for Siddhartha inside the palace. The king did not want his son to think about the deep things in life too much, because he remembered that the wise men had predicted that his son might one day want to leave the palace and become a monk. But this did not stop Siddhartha from thinking about the sufferings and unhappiness that he noticed around him. Siddhartha grew up to be a handsome young man full of strength. To stop Siddhartha from thinking about the outer world, the king arranged his marriage to his beautiful cousin, Princess Yasodhara. As per the traditional belief, Siddhartha had to prove his worth before her parents. They organized a ceremony in which Siddhartha was being told to tame a wild horse. Siddhartha tamed the horse, not by beating it, as some suitors might, but by talking to the horse to calm it and stroking it gently. Yasodhara wanted to marry the prince, and no one else. They were married in a great ceremony. To stop the prince from thinking about unhappiness or leaving home, King Shuddhodana created a pleasure palace for Siddhartha and Yasodhara. Dancers and singers were asked to entertain them, and only healthy and young people were allotted into the palace and the palace garden. The king did not want Siddhartha to know that everybody gets sick, grows old, and eventually will die. But in spite of the king's efforts, the prince was not happy. He wanted to know what life was like for people who lived outside the palace walls. Finally, after some time, the king allowed Siddhartha to go out and attend his people, as he was going to become the king soon, and he should understand everything about his kingdom and his people. He went with his attendant, Channa. On his first visit, Siddhartha witnessed a white-haired, wrinkled man dressed in shreds. Such a sight shocked him, as he had never seen anyone old before. Channa told him that this man was old and that everyone will become old one day. Siddhartha felt frightened by that and asked Channa to take him back home. At night, he could not sleep, and he kept on imagining old age. On his next visit, he saw a man lying on the ground and moaning. Out of sympathy, he rushed over to the man. Channa alerted him that the man was sick and that everyone, even noble people like Siddhartha or the king, could get sick. On the third visit, Siddhartha and Channa saw 4 men carrying another man on a stretcher. Channa told Siddhartha that the man was dead and was going to be cremated. He also said that no one can escape death, and told the prince that everyone will die one day. When they returned to the palace, Siddhartha kept on thinking about what he had seen. Finally, he made a strong decision to find a way out of the misery of old age, sickness, and death. Sometime later, while the prince was riding in the garden, he noticed a man in a yellow robe. He noticed that the man looked very peaceful and happy. Channa described to him that the man was a monk. The monk had left his family and given up his desire for pleasures to search for freedom from worldly suffering. The prince felt inspired by the sight of the monk and began to want to leave home to search for freedom in the same way.